What's up, everybody? We had a huge couple days out here making a ton of progress. I'm going to give you a little bit of a walkthrough and try to explain the best I can on what we've done out here. Tomorrow is concrete day, so we're really excited about that as well. Things are moving quickly, and from here on out, they're just going to keep moving faster and faster.
Alright, so the wind was crazy this day, so I'm just going to do a quick voiceover of what I was trying to cover versus you trying to listen to me talk through the wind noises. But anyways, we got our floor heat put in, and we went with 3 separate zones, and I'll show you a close-up a little bit later on of how the zones are all spaced out. But our house has 3 zones, 2 in the house itself, and then the 3rd one is in the garage. We used PEX tubing for all of the floor heat, and we spaced it out roughly a foot apart for the house, and it's a little bit further than that in the garage. We just weaved continuous lines of it, so there's no splices in the PEX line throughout the house or inside the concrete. That just minimizes any risk of a pipe leaking or cracking down the road, and every time you have a splice, you just increase your chance of failure. We also ran our plumbing lines all under the concrete. I didn't get any video of the plumbing work, but I'll show you a picture here right after this. And all of our hot and cold lines go under the concrete and then back out to a PEX manifold in the garage. We're going to have a mechanical room in the garage where all of this stuff will be housed. And we're going to have a tankless boiler system that's run on propane. So all of our hot water for the house and for the floor heat will be ran through this dual purpose boiler system. We're really excited for that. It's supposed to be extremely efficient. But I'm going to show you a quick picture of the plumbing that we did and that we had done, and then I'll give you a close-up of all of the floor heat install. So our plumber is a local guy. Swedes Plumbing is the company. They came out, they did an awesome job. They didn't have the best references in the house plans, but they did a perfect job. I lasered everything after the concrete was poured. Everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. They did a really good job. Like I mentioned before, all of our water lines, all the drains, everything is under the concrete.
On top of that boiler system, we just put in a new furnace in our current house 2 years ago. It's a high efficiency propane furnace. We're also going to install that and the new AC unit that we just put in at the same time. And the idea is it'll be kind of a backup heat source. Up here in North Dakota, it gets super cold, and I'm not saying that this floor heat wouldn't be enough to keep our house warm. It probably will be, but what I'm going to do is set my floor heat temperature at about 70 degrees and then set my air temp for the furnace at probably between 67 or 68 degrees. That way on a really cold day, if the floor heat is having a little bit of trouble keeping up, or if like the garage door gets opened up and we lose some heat in there, the furnace will kick in and really heat up that air temperature quicker and allow that floor heat to catch up if it needs it. The other idea behind it is if one of the units has any issues, we'll always have a heat source. And you combine that with our standby generator that we're going to get plumbed in over here. Basically, all of that's run on propane underground lines. If we ever lose power, that thing kicks in about 5 seconds and we'll have heat. That's enough to run our entire house for as long as we got propane in the tank, but easily for a week if we ever lose power. But yeah, I'll shut up and kind of give you a little bit of a walkthrough so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, and I hope it makes sense. So all the orange line here, of course, is the floor heat. It's basically zigzagged across the entire house. One thing that I want to mention that my plumber mentioned to me that I had never really thought about is around the toilets, you want to make sure you give yourself a little bit of space. You see how we kind of bowed out around the toilets here? There's one here, and then there's one behind that vent pipe over there. But you want to give yourself plenty of space. He said at least 12 inches around the whole perimeter of that toilet, because when you put that wax ring on the flange and set your toilet in, these floor heat pipes can be so warm that they soften or melt that wax up, and then you got yourselves a big mess on your hands. So if you do floor heat, make sure you go around those toilet drains so you don't have to worry about that. But like I said, we got zone 1 sensor coming up through the wall there, the zone 2 sensor a little bit behind it, and the whole house is covered from edge to edge with these floor heat lines. Down here we have our manifold where we got our hot and cold water lines set up. And then this is going to be a maintenance room in the garage, by the way. This will be on the east wall, and then on the south wall we have our floor heat manifold that we'll plumb everything into. But yeah, so we got our garage right here, floor drains in, everything's ready for concrete. Alright guys, great update here. The entire concrete slab was poured all as one, and they just finished up our little covered patio here. They already snapped the chalk lines and everything. It's hard enough to walk on, and tomorrow they'll come back and make their cuts, and they've already stripped the forms and everything on the main pour. We'll just have to strip the forms on that little covered patio over there. But the concrete looks great. We actually had a perfect day here. It's been super hot lately, but we had a day of high 70s, low 80s, and we had some cloud coverage so that the concrete didn't set up too fast. And if you know anything about concrete, you know that the slower it can cure, the harder and the stronger the concrete chemical bond is going to be. So if it's super hot and windy out, it'll cure almost a little bit too quick, and it can get a little bit brittle, and you get some shrinkage cracks and that kind of thing sometimes. But we just had a perfect day, no wind and low temperatures. It started off a little bit cloudy, and we actually had a little bit of rain last night, but it cleared off, and we had kind of scattered chances for rain throughout the whole afternoon. Luckily, we didn't have any rain on the cement itself, and it'll have plenty of time to cure up before this evening when we've got, of course, another thunderstorm on its way. But I'm not worried about that at all at this point. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up here and walk around and show you what it looks like. So right now I'm standing in the far corner of the garage. We've got the floor drain right in the middle here. The garage door will be right over there. It's going to be an 18-foot garage door. And over in this corner of the garage, where all these pipes are coming out, I showed you these the other day, I believe, but this manifold, or this run of PEX, is going to be for the floor heat. We've got 3 separate zones, and they're all bundled off accordingly. And then over here is where we have the water lines to our house itself, hot and cold, of course. These lines are going to be inside of a wall here, and there is the vent pipe for one of the drains. Right here, it's going to be kind of hard to see this. They have a chalk line here that kind of helps a little bit actually. But right here we have 2 toilets. One is going to be for the master bedroom here on the right, and the left one is going to be in our laundry room. And then over here, where that drain was there, is going to be a shower, and then we'll have our washer and then our dryer on the far wall. And looking in here, this is going to be that master suite. The sinks will be right here. We're going to have a walk-in shower over here in that little hole back there. And then right here is going to be our tub. I added this little trough here after the point, before the concrete of course, but after the plumbers were here. Mostly because my wife decided she wanted a standalone or a freestanding tub. And a lot of those tubs are a center drain. So the drain is right in the middle of it, and this was set up for just a right drain regular tub. So the plumbers did exactly what I wanted them to do, and they put in that right drain tub right off the wall. But then Bree said, well, we might want a freestanding tub, so I quickly put a bunch of treated wood and just made a small form so that if I have to, I can just run a piece of PVC at an angle, of course, with that slope into the initial drain, and the P-trap will be down in this box, of course, but that's what's going on there if you're curious. I figured if we didn't go with the floating tub, I could just break those forms out and fill it with some Quikrete anyways, but I'm almost certain we're going to use a free floating tub there. Then over here is going to be where our master bedroom is. I actually kind of like how they have these squares here where they're going to cut, because it almost gives you a good idea of where everything's going to be. This is going to be the master bedroom here, and then back here we'll have two other bedrooms. Here's going to be one, and then this is going to be the smallest bedroom in the house, right here in this corner. We're also going to have a full bathroom right here with a bath and shower combination kit, sink, toilet, of course. And then in this front corner is going to be an office. We'll have our computer. There'll be a little closet in here as well. One change we made from our blueprint is we're probably going to have our walk-in door to this room right here, versus when we initially planned this out, it was going to be right here in this corner. And the reason we're changing that is because this wall where that chalk line is, we're going to have a floor to ceiling wall, and it's going to have a built-in fireplace, mantle, our TV, everything's going to be mounted on the wall here. And we just thought that it might look a little bit funny if we have the door off to the side here. So I think we're going to try and squeeze the door in over there. There'll be two windows in this office, one facing out that way and the other one facing out to the front yard. Of course, the house won't be there for much longer. And then right here is going to be our living room area. And then we'll have a big open space. This whole half of the house is wide open, and we're hoping to get a dining table in here somewhere. And then right here is going to be our island. A couple adjustments we made to our initial plan. We were going to have just a free floating island that we could move around, but then we changed our mind. Bree wanted a prep sink in the corner of it, and she also wanted some outlets. So I ran some electrical conduit just to get if we need to run power or Romex cable, we can go from under the sink, under the concrete, and then up through the bottom of the island. But we'll have an island sitting at kind of an angle here. It'll have just a small sink in the corner of it. Our main sink will be right here. There'll be a window looking out to the front. And then of course, we'll have our cabinets all the way around here. A corner pantry is the plan right now. And then a little bit more cabinets over here. And then this basically leads you right back to the garage. The thing I wanted to show you, we decided to go with the 3 zones of floor heat like I mentioned. One is going to run the entire garage. It's a 30 by 30 garage, by the way. The other one is going to run the kitchen, which will be here, the living room right here, and, well actually the dining room, excuse me, here, and then the living room here, all the way up until that far wall there. And then we're going to run all of the bedrooms in the office, so it's going to make an L shape over here from this corner back to that corner and then along this wall for all the bedrooms. That way the bathrooms and the bedrooms will all have a different zone if we want to make them hotter or colder depending on what the weather's like and what our house actually feels like. We decided that 3 zones was going to be pretty good for what we want here. And these are where they're going to run the sensors right up through there's going to be a wall of our master suite is going to be right here. And these were going to be the sensors that go up right in the middle of the wall here. So I'm going to wrap this video up. Like I mentioned earlier, we are so excited to see this concrete finish. It's a huge step for us. All the plumbing's done, the concrete's done. They're going to drop off the materials for the shell of the building next week, which will be July 30th is the actual drop-off date, and then it's going to take them about a week before they can actually get out here and start putting up walls. But once they get started, it will not take them long. They go up really quick, which is awesome, and we just can't wait to see this house progress even further. It's really fun right now to actually see with these lines, these little grid lines they made for where they're going to cut it. It gives you a little bit of a visualization of what the house will actually look like. Up until now, it's just been kind of a guessing game with the wide open space here, but It's coming along nicely, and we'll see you on the next episode.